going to that one, let us learn something about the hoteling. And hoteling is nothing but it is a multivariate statistical test, which is like we use the hoteling piece pair. When there are multi-dependent variables, we know what is a dependent variable. Like if x1, x2, if both are dependent, then we say it is a dependent variable. And we are saying multi-dependent, which is nothing but x3 and x4. We include more than two variables. Then which all variables are dependent on each other, we say multi-dependent. So when there are multi-dependent variables, we use the quadrant p-square, and this quadrant p-square is used to compare the mean vector between two groups. Let me take some example here. For group 1, and I have two variables. Let me take for an example of two variables. In vector variables used in the complicated arithmetic, this is two variables. And for group 1, let me take height. And for same way, and I have some values here, like 1, 2, 3. And for group 2, same 1, 2, 3, and the variables are same like height and weight. And when I calculate the mean vector of the group 1 x1 variable and group 2 x2 variable, I calculate the mean, and this is mu2, that is equals to mean of group 1 x1 variable and mean of group 2 x2 variable. So when I calculate this mean, this called as mu1 vector and mu2 vector, now I will find out the comparison between the mu1 vector and the mu2 vector. These are the mean vectors. And when we want to test whether there is any variation between this mean vectors, we use the modeling p-square. I hope it is clear about the modeling p-square. Now let us jump into the modeling p-square control chart to compare the mean vector between two groups. So that's why the modeling p-square control chart is used to monitor the process of mean vectors. ఈ mean vectors ని మానిటర్ చేయడానికి మనం modeling p-square control chart యూస్ చేస్తాం. And ఇక్కడ modeling p-square ఏదైతే ఉందో this plays the same role as Shiva control chart for univariate variables. మనం ఇక్కడ modeling p-square అనేది multivariates యూస్ చేస్తున్నాం. The same role is played by Shiva control chart for univariate variables. So that's why this modeling p-square control chart can be constructed for n greater than or equals to 1 and n is equals to 1. So, but basically we have the three methods to construct the control chart, that are the multivariate control chart by ellipse method, and by chi-square method, and by the quadratic system. So let us learn about the multivariate control chart by ellipse method. Control chart by ellipse method. So before going into this topic, we have to learn what is mean by ellipse, so that only we can able to understand what is how can we construct multivariate control chart by ellipse. Ellipse is nothing but if we take a two fixed point on a plane. These are the two fixed points. Let me denote it as F1 and let this as F2. And if I take any point on the plane, let me represent it as A. And the distance between F1A and the distance between F2A, when I sum this, that is distance between the sum of the distance between F1A plus F2A, that will be always equal to some constant. Let me denote the constant as alpha. And this alpha, let me take it as a 2A. And if you take any point on the plane, let me take here and calculate the distance from F to the point B and B to the point F. And this distance, when you sum this one and this one, when you sum this both the distance, that is also equals to alpha, that is 2A, some fixed distance. And a set of points on the plane, the sum of the distance from any point that will be equals to constant is called as an ellipse. And if I draw a straight line or a line segment that is passing through these 2 points, these called the major axis. Major axis or principal axis. Please try to remember these terms so that we can easily understand that one. And if I draw a vertical line that is passing through the center line is called as minor axis. And this is what about the ellipse. Now let us go into the multivariate control chart by ellipse. In this situation, we use the multivariate control chart by ellipse method. एक situation में हम ellipse method use करते हैं. F2 अंदर when two characteristics like two parity characteristics x1 and x2 when these are dependent. ఈ two characteristics dependent ఉన్నప్పుడు మాత్రమే మనం multivariate control chart by ellipse method అనేది యూజ్ చేస్తాం. And if I am taking ఈ two variables dependent అయినప్పుడు మనకి joint normal distribution వస్తుంది. Which is nothing but the probability of A intersection B. So ఇలా వచ్చినప్పుడు ఈ జాయింట్ డిస్ట్రిబ్యూషన్ అనే రీజియన్ ఎలిప్టికల్ రీజియన్ కౌంట్ అవుతాయి. Let me take the height and weight example because they are correlated, right? Dependent. Let me take height here, x1 variable, and weight here, x2 variable. And if I plot some points, like it will give me the straight line, right? In the upward direction, it will give me the straight line from left below to right up. So when I draw a boundary line here, it is in the shape of elliptical region. This elliptical region is nothing but the stretched circle, right? And if you draw a boundary line here, then it is the shape of elliptical region. If we take the another example of downwards, which is like this, then you get something like this, right? So there's both. These are the upward or downward. Both are the examples of dependent variable. So you get an elliptical region like this. Okay. And whenever the points are inside the line or inside this elliptical region, then the process is said to be under control. And if any points are outside this elliptical region, is said to be outside of the control. And now let us see some of the advantages and disadvantages of ellipse method. If x1 and x2 are dependent, then we get an elliptical region. But if these both two variables are independent, if these two are independent, then the shape will be this circle. No more elliptical region. And if the points lie inside this circle, then this process is said to be under control. If it is outside, then not the one. And whenever the points lie outside the circle, then there is a chance of assignable process. And now let us see some advantages and disadvantages. The first advantage is here we are monitoring the two variables simultaneously. ఒకటి సారి మనం x1 variable x2 variable రెండింటిని చదువుతున్నాం. So this is the advantage. Monitoring two variables simultaneously. And this ellipse method is saying the correlation when two variables are dependent. And it gives a better picture than a separate control chart. For univariate variables, we have used here Shiva control chart, but this ellipse method gives a better picture than Shiva. And the disadvantages is the first one is time sequence of plotted points is lost. And then, like, ఇప్పుడు మనం ఒక అబ్జర్వేషన్ x1 తీసుకుంటాం. Let us take here the x1 and x2. ఈ అబ్జర్వేషన్ ఏ టైంలో అయింది? Like this observation is observed today or this observation is occurred yesterday. In time period order the ellipse method should be. If I take x1 plot and x2 here, the elliptical region does not show whether the order of the observation, whether this observation occurred today or it is occurred yesterday. This is the disadvantage of ellipse. And whenever we have a more than two Okay. At the first only I discussed about when the two characteristics are dependent, then the easy expression.